President Donald Trump Jr. Don, thank you for joining us. If I could, I just want to read this quote from Hunter Biden's book and throw a quick soundbite at you very quickly. Here's the quote. Hunter saying, I've worked for someone other than my father, rose and fell on my own. Do you think if any of the Trump children ever tried to get a job outside their father's business, that his name wouldn't figure into the calculation? My response has always been to work harder so that my accomplishments stand on their own. And I will just talk about what we just found out, and let's run that soundbite of Hunter bragging about his control of, guess who, his father's agenda. Listen.
He'll talk about anything that I want him to, that he believes in. If I say this is important to me, then he will work a way in which to make it a part of his platform.
Yeah. And let's bring in Don Jr. So, Don, here it is. Hunter, now we're finding out so much. Every week there's another thing we find out. It's on those horrific laptops. This is a guy who took a shot at you and Ivanka and Eric. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd put my record up against Hunter Biden any day of the week.
So, Eric, you know, the real problem here is that it's the son of the wannabe president at the time, the president now at the time, the vice president, actually. And that leaves them open for so much risk, the American people open for so much risk, that if some of this were to get out, and if there were some bad actors in, I don't know, Russia perhaps, who say, we have this on Hunter, what are you going to do about it, Joe VP and now Joe President? What are your thoughts on their ability to blackmail the first family?
Eric, we're sending another $1 billion today, but we've sent $53 billion to the Ukraine, a place where Hunter was dealing with the highest levels of government with a no-show board seat, making millions of dollars to do nothing other than his father was the guy making decisions for American policy over there. Our press won't even ask, do you think? Like us being on the verge of World War III, do you think our decision-making could be being influenced by the fact that there's plenty more out there that we don't even know about? I mean, there doesn't seem to be an enemy country of the United States that doesn't somehow have a Hunter Biden laptop. You saw the video of him doing crack with a prostitute, talking about how he thinks the Russian mob may have one of them. And God knows it could be used against his father if he was the president of the United States. The fact that our press isn't even remotely interesting is amazing, considering the great lengths they went to try to create the fake news Russia collusion narrative with my family. So the fact that this is out there, the fact that we've spent, I guess, $54 billion. We can't do anything about our schools. We can't fix our gas prices. We won't deal with the energy problems here. We won't address inflation. We'll send $54 billion to a corrupt regime in Ukraine, which is ranked almost as corrupt as Russia. No one even questions it. It's just fine. We wouldn't be given the same benefit of the doubt. And I can assure you, they'd be asking questions if the president of the United States is compromised. And obviously, there's a big chance that he would be.
Yeah, and not only that, Don, I remember the soundbite of Joe Biden, Vice President Joe Biden, holding up a $1 billion check, allegedly $1 billion check. But he literally said, Ukraine, if you don't fire that prosecutor that's investigating, we now know was investigating Hunter, his son, and his ties to Burisma, $1 billion. I'm going to take this $1 billion and go home, and I have the full support of Barack Obama. If that isn't the very definition of corruption and self-dealing, what is?
100%. The reality is the only institution perhaps more corrupt than the Biden family is actually the mainstream media. You combine that with big tech and social media, all functioning as the marketing department of the radical left these days. It's pretty formidable. It's actually shocking that elections are so close. You'd think with those trillion-dollar industries just working for one side, these things would be won 99.9 to 0.01, on the Republican side, and the Democrats would just be sweeping. That's how bad their policies are. Even with trillions of dollars pouring in, donations in kind from the radical leftists that run those institutions, it's still close. That's pretty impressive. But yeah, the corruption of the Biden administration, the Biden family knows no bounds other than perhaps what's going on in mainstream media these days.
Yeah, the corrupt corporate media. We know they have the support. The Democrats have the support of them, so it makes it a lot easier, provides cover to them. Before we go on to the next topic, Don, from the son of a former president to the son of the current president, what's the advice?
Listen, man, it's easier to get out of trouble if you just don't get yourself there in the first place. What's going on with that one is amazing. But again, going back to the media, the fact that they refuse to cover it, the fact that they don't even acknowledge it. I mean, if I get heated in a conversation, there's hours of Don Jr. must be on drugs. I mean, there's photographs on the other side. It's like, no, we must be sympathetic to this. I mean, I understand being sympathetic if they want to be sympathetic towards someone with addiction, but someone who has Hunter Biden's record, who's actually smoking crack with prostitutes, who feels the need to video it. Imagine the things he didn't video. We've seen what he's videoed. Imagine the stuff that he did that isn't on video.
Oh, no,
or
I can't.
Perhaps that our enemies have on video and are holding over Joe Biden and this administration's head. I think that's pretty scary, Eric.
And that is where the line is crossed. It's not what we know, because we know what we know. It's what we don't know that could be very, very scary. Don, before we go, I want to tell us a little bit about this American Freedom Tour that you're involved with. It sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's just a great group of patriots, a lot of great speakers sort of from the MAGA movement going around the country, talking about the incredible things that we're doing. We're going to be in Memphis this Saturday. Kim speaking, I'm speaking, my father's speaking, I think Kaylee and Dinesh, and just a great group of American patriots getting out there, talking directly to their people. It's awesome to see these big groups of people because, people are finally seeing. The one thing perhaps the Democrats and the Biden administration have done now for us, Eric, is it's so incompetent. It's so corrupt. It's so stupid and so easily fixed that finally Americans who perhaps were too busy feeding their families to really listen to the news, that they trusted sort of the mainstream media, or they believed at least a part of it, they're seeing with their own eyes just how bad it is. And they're uniting. For the first time, all Americans can agree just how ridiculous this thing is. And when you had one guy like President Trump out there, they could cancel the most powerful man in the world. They can't cancel 160, 170, 180 million Americans going out there and saying enough is enough. We want our country back. So, yeah, excited to be in Memphis this week with the American Freedom Tour. Just had a lot of fun getting out there and talking to the American people, really hearing from them, the things that matter to them. It's just been awesome.
All right. We're going to leave it there. And Don, good luck with the American Freedom Tour, folks. Check that out if you haven't already. Don Jr., thank you. By the way, best to Kim, my former colleague on the 5 over at Fox. Also send my love to your father, the president, who we've been very, very close with for a long time. And we may have an announcement coming up soon. I won't